This is Turkish Air Force speaking on guard. You are approaching Turkish airspace.
Good morning, this is ShinDo. Turkey has released a tape of them warning this Russian plane that they are approaching Turkish airspace. What I have found in the last couple of days is that most people aren't even aware of what NATO is. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was set up at around the end of World War II in order to have a block of countries that stood against the Soviet Union. Now, many of you may not even know that the Soviet Union was on the American side, the Ally side, against Germany, Italy, and Japan during the war. Japan not until the end of the war, but let's not get into details. So at one point, the Soviet Union and the United States were allies. Unfortunately, most of you have public education in history, haven't gone to college, or if you did go to college, perhaps you didn't take more than just a basic Western Civ class. And this is unfortunate because 20th century America is the most relevant to you in your daily life. And by the time a high school history teacher gets to 20th century, they rush through World War II, so you know basics, and then the school year is over. When the 60s and the 70s and the relationship between the United States and the Soviet Union over the course of the last 50 and 60 years is the most significant things that you need to know when it comes to worldwide events. You don't know these things, and it's not your fault because you weren't taught them in school. There is an alliance between nations called NATO, and part of this charter calls for, if any of these countries are attacked by the Soviet Union, which is now just Russia, if any of these countries are attacked, then it is an attack to all of these countries. At the end of World War II, Berlin was divided in half. Many of you who are grown adults in their 20s and even in their 30s probably don't remember a time when there was a Soviet Union menace towards the United States. I'm not going to get into politics here. The Soviet Union is, or was, and Russia is, as far as those who are in power in the United States, the Soviet Union, and now Russia, are the opposition to our standard of living. That is the way they have always been perceived. And back in the good old days, back in the 50s and 60s, it was easy to have them as an enemy because the United States, and this isn't exclusive to the United States, but the United States needs enemies in order to keep their people in line and patriotic. So the only thing that you're taught in your high schools is propaganda and indoctrination. I have a degree in education for this subject. I know exactly what your teachers are trained to teach you. And most of your high school teachers, they believe the same line that they're teaching. They believe in this patriotic, God bless America nonsense. I watched the news, and it seems like they are completely clueless as to how significant the event of 2 days ago was. With Turkey shooting down a Russian plane, it doesn't matter why they did it, okay? Folks, let's not worry about that. With Turkey shooting down a Russian plane, we are as close to World War III as we have been since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm going to try to explain as best I can what happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis without even looking up any of this information. Russia wanted to put missiles into Cuba, right on just, Cuba's what, maybe 100 miles from the coast of the tip of Florida. Now, they didn't want to just do this out of the blue. They wanted to do it because the United States was going to put missiles, nuclear missiles, in Turkey, a NATO ally. It doesn't matter if Turkey is full of shit and they're a bunch of assholes. I don't care. They're a NATO ally. So it's significant to you as to what's going on. Now, Russia is going to put surface-to-air missiles right there on the border against Turkey. This is not going to end well. We are on the verge of World War III. And just like a few years ago when we were about to go into Iraq, people seem to be oblivious to the fact that this war is not going to end well for us. They're concentrating so much now on what happened in France. Okay, that's over with. Regardless of your feelings about it, that's over with. This is something that is a developing incident. Now, you're not going to get any information from the news sources. It's just extremely frustrating to see people continuing to watch their dog and pony shows when this right here is what you need to be paying attention to. If you can research how the Earth is flat, or you can research about how the Queen is a reptilian, then I'm certain that you can research this information that is actually relevant. Don't worry about this Alex Jones bullshit crowd who wants to blame everything on the United States. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. You need to be concerned about what is happening. We are as close to World War III as we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. At least. Take some time, find out what the Cuban Missile Crisis was all about. This is information that you need to know. You don't need to know the details on how to explain how the Earth is fucking flat. Wake up, people. Shit.